There's a reason some homes feel heavy the moment you step inside, and it's not just the furniture, the lighting, or the layout. It's the stories inside the objects. That old bracelet passed down from someone who never knew peace. That secondhand wallet filled with someone else's money fears. That gifted necklace from a friend who always seemed emotionally drained. We keep them because they're beautiful, because they came with good intentions. But behind the surface, something lingers. And sometimes it quietly rewires your energy without asking for permission. In Feng Shui, every personal item is a carrier, not just of form or function, but of emotion, memory, and momentum. Especially items that live close to your body, wallets, jewelry, sleepwear, and old spiritual artifacts. They don't just rest on your skin, they interact with your field. And when you bring home something charged with unresolved energy from someone else, you may unintentionally invite their patterns, their pain, even their karmic residue into your life. That's not superstition, that's transference. And the longer those objects stay, the more they begin to shape your choices, your finances, your relationships, even your sleep. Until one day you wonder why everything feels just a little off. Today on New Day Mindfulness, we're going to gently unravel this unseen truth. Together, we'll explore 5 everyday items you should never accept from others, no matter how kind the gesture, how expensive the gift, or how beautiful the object. Because when it comes to energy, it's not about value, it's about vibration. And sometimes the biggest leaks in our lives don't come from loud events, but from quiet objects we never question. If you've been feeling stuck lately, if you've been working hard but not seeing progress, if your home feels heavier than usual, or if your intuition has been nudging you to clear something, but you didn't know what, this video is for you. Not to instill fear, but to offer clarity. Because once you understand how these objects operate, you gain the ability to shift your space, and by doing so, shift your life. So please, before we dive into this powerful list, if this topic resonates with something unspoken in your heart, I invite you to pause for one moment and help me grow this healing space. Give this video a like. Share it with someone who might be unknowingly carrying energetic weight that isn't theirs. And if you haven't already, subscribe to New Day Mindfulness. We're just steps away from reaching our first 5,000 subscribers, and your support allows me to keep sharing this grounded, practical wisdom with more people seeking clarity. Because here, we're not chasing trends, we're not offering magic tricks, we're translating ancestral insight into small, conscious actions. Actions that can restore your peace, elevate your prosperity, and remind you that you have more power over your space than you've ever been taught. Let's begin. Because your home is speaking, your energy is asking, and your next chapter might just begin by letting go of something you never should have accepted in the first place. Number 1, used wallets or purses. It may seem harmless, practical even, to accept a used wallet or a secondhand purse. Maybe it's a brand you've always wanted. Maybe it was gifted by someone you love. But here's the truth few people ever pause to consider. A wallet carries far more than credit cards and cash. It carries financial memory. It holds the residue of every transaction, every emotion tied to money, and every belief the previous owner had about abundance or lack. That means when you take someone else's wallet into your life, you may unknowingly be inviting in their financial story. And not all stories are meant to be inherited. In Feng Shui, we believe that the wallet isn't just a storage space, it's a symbol of your financial foundation. It represents how you relate to earning, spending, saving, and receiving. And just like you wouldn't wear someone else's wedding ring if they had a bitter marriage, you must think twice before using a wallet that has lived through years of debt, financial stress, or instability. Let's go deeper. Imagine someone who's spent years struggling to stay afloat, who's kept that wallet through every overdraft notice, every maxed out card, every silent dinner where they pretended everything was okay. That wallet has absorbed all of it. Now it's in your hand, close to your body, near your heart, touching your skin multiple times a day. Do you really want that weight, however invisible, rubbing off on your current energy? This isn't about superstition. It's about vibration. It's about understanding that every object holds memory, and personal items, especially those that represent wealth, amplify that memory into your energetic field. The law of resonance says, like attracts like. If your wallet is coated with lack, you may begin to feel blocked in your income, unsure in your investments, hesitant to spend, or impulsive in ways that reflect someone else's emotional pattern, not your own. Now let's be fair, not all hand-me-down wallets are harmful. In fact, some can be powerful transmitters of abundance if their origin carries reverence, not residue. For example, a grandmother who saves carefully, honors her money, and blesses a wallet as she passes it down to you. She's not just giving you an object, she's giving you a legacy of financial mindfulness. That's different. That's sacred. What we're talking about today are wallets from uncertain sources, ones picked up at flea markets, or inherited from people who never had a good relationship with money, or worse, gifted out of guilt, jealousy, or obligation. Objects given an emotional misalignment carry a current that continues long after the handoff. Here's a true story that changed how I advise clients around this topic. A high-level CEO I once consulted told me he had a very personal ritual. Every New Year's Eve, he would buy a new wallet, burn the old one, and write a fresh financial intention inside the first compartment of the new. It's not about superstition, he said. It's about cutting energetic cords with the past and resetting my prosperity field. That man now runs one of the fastest growing wellness platforms in the country. Coincidence? Maybe, but he swears the wallet ritual keeps him sharp, aware, and energetically clean. So here's the point of impact. When you keep using a wallet that came from someone whose relationship with money was chaotic, your energetic field tries to carry both your story and theirs. That creates friction. It clouds your clarity. And over time, it may pull you into patterns that aren't aligned with your values or goals. If you already have a used wallet and suspect it may be blocking your financial energy, don't panic. There's a way to shift it. First, cleanse it with intention. Place it under sunlight for a few hours, then smudge it gently with sage or Palo Santo, especially around the seams and zippers, where energy tends to hide. Next, hold it in both hands and speak to it. Yes, speak. Say, I release all memories, not mine. I claim this space is mine now, filled only with energy that supports my growth, clarity, and abundance. Finally, write an intention and place it inside. This could be as simple as I receive money with ease. I spend with joy. I attract opportunities aligned with my highest good. And if you've been feeling resistance around money, if your income has plateaued despite your efforts, or if you've been holding on to an old wallet for reasons you can't explain, maybe it's time to let it go. Replace it with something new, something chosen by you, for you, with intention and joy. Because your financial path should reflect your energy, not someone else's echoes. Remember, it's not the object that holds power, it's the energy it carries. And you have the right to choose what energies walk with you, touch your skin, and influence your life. Number 2, old bed sheets, blankets, or personal linens. No one would ever voluntarily wear another person's exhaustion, but that's exactly what we do when we sleep on used linens, absorbing their restlessness, their sorrow, their silent battles night after night, skin to fabric, breath to thread. It may sound dramatic, but in Feng Shui and in energetic truth, your sleep environment is one of the most sacred, vulnerable spaces in your entire life. This is where your body drops its defenses, where your subconscious becomes active, and where your spirit begins its nightly reset. So when the surface you lie on carries someone else's story, someone else's healing, or worse, someone else's unresolved emotional pain, you don't just inherit their thread count. You inherit their frequency. Fabrics are energy sponges, and unlike wood or metal, which reflect or ground energy, textiles absorb and retain it, especially when used in a closed, intimate environment like a bedroom, where airflow is limited, emotions settle into stillness, and the energy of dreams lingers far longer than we realize. Imagine sleeping every night on a blanket that once covered someone struggling with depression, grief, or terminal illness. Their body may be gone, but their emotional imprint, still woven into every fiber, This isn't fear-mongering, it's energetic hygiene. Let me ask you this. Have you ever stayed at an Airbnb or in someone's guest room, and despite the sheets being clean, you couldn't sleep? Tossed and turned? Felt inexplicably uneasy? That's residual energy at play. Detergent cleans the surface, but it doesn't neutralize the field. And this is especially true with older bedding that's been passed down, blankets from a relative, hand-me-down linens from someone else's household, thrifted comforters. You may think you're saving money or preserving a memory, but you could also be unknowingly merging your healing space with someone else's unrest. Sleep is not just a biological reset, it's an energetic detox. It's the time when your chi slows down, reorganizes, and repairs. When you sleep inside old energetic residue, your system has to work overtime, detoxing not only your own stress, but the stress absorbed from the objects beneath you. That's why many people who sleep on second-hand linens wake up feeling drained, emotionally cloudy, or even achy, despite getting a full 8 hours. It's not about how long you sleep. It's about where your energy goes while you're resting. The deeper truth is this: bed sheets and blankets witness everything. Illness, loneliness, arguments, breakups, even death. They collect more than skin cells and sweat. They collect moments, emotions, nightmares, desires unspoken. And when these textiles are reused without proper energetic clearing, those moments are recycled into your current life, looping without your awareness. Let's ground this in a real example. I once worked with a woman who couldn't explain her sudden fatigue. She'd moved into a new apartment, bought second-hand linens from a family friend, and started waking up more tired than she went to sleep. After several weeks of physical checks and no results, we looked at the energy. I asked her to stop using the borrowed sheets for 3 nights. Instead, she slept on brand new organic cotton bedding, washed in salt water and dried in full sun. The shift was almost immediate: deeper rest, more vivid dreams, and a surprising emotional release on the second night. Turns out the original owner of the sheets had cared for a terminally ill spouse in those exact linens. The weight was real. It just wasn't visible. Now let's be clear, not all gifted or reused linens are bad. If you receive something from someone who is emotionally balanced, spiritually clear, and intentionally passes on their items with love, you may actually feel safe or held by their energy. But most people don't cleanse their bedding energetically. They just fold it and give it away. And while the thread count might still be intact, the emotional count hasn't been reset. So what can you do if you've already accepted used sheets, blankets, or pillowcases? You don't have to throw them away, but you do have to reset them completely. Here's how. First, soak them in warm water with sea salt or pink Himalayan salt for several hours. Salt is one of nature's oldest purifiers. It pulls energy out of fabric the way it pulls toxins from the body. After soaking, wash the linens thoroughly using a mild, unscented soap and dry them under direct sunlight for at least 3 consecutive days. Not a quick 1-hour session, 3 full days of solar exposure. The sun doesn't just dry, it clears. Sunlight realigns the fibers with natural frequency, breaking up residual fields and recharging the fabric's ability to support, not drain. And if that feels like too much effort, ask yourself, why would I sleep on something I'm not even willing to fully cleanse? Better yet, choose bedding with intention. When you buy your next set of sheets, ask yourself, what energy do I want to sleep in? Calm, joy, warmth, security? Choose colors, materials, and even textures that reflect those states. Treat your bedding as part of your self-care, not an afterthought, because your bed isn't just where you sleep, it's where you heal. And that healing either comes from purity or gets blocked by invisible weight. If you've been waking up tired, feeling emotionally heavy in the mornings, or struggling with recurring dreams or poor quality rest, the issue may not be you, it may be your bedding, and you deserve to sleep in energy that loves you back. Number 3, jewelry, especially rings, necklaces, watches. Every time you fasten a necklace, slip on a ring, or check the time on a vintage watch, you're not just adorning yourself, you're connecting with memory, and that memory isn't always yours. Of all the items we inherit, borrow, or buy secondhand, jewelry is among the most intimate and energetically potent. Because unlike furniture or decor, jewelry touches skin. It lives on pulse points. It moves with your body. It absorbs the vibration of every heartbeat, every moment of joy or sorrow, and yes, every unspoken heartbreak. Think about it. Jewelry is present during some of life's most emotionally charged events: weddings, breakups, funerals, career milestones, even illness. And when that metal sits close to the body for weeks, months, or years, it doesn't just shine. It stores. It remembers. This is why in Feng Shui and across multiple spiritual traditions worldwide, jewelry is treated with reverence. Because metal, especially precious metal, has the ability to absorb and transfer qi, life force energy, unlike any other material. The ring your friend gifted you after their divorce? It might carry more than sentimental value. It could be holding on to grief, betrayal, or feelings of failure, none of which belong to you, but all of which can affect you. The antique watch passed down from a grandfather who lived through war, scarcity, or emotional repression, that weight doesn't go away when the battery dies. It lives in the metal casing, in the pressure of the band around your wrist. And here's the critical point. When you wear something that once belonged to someone else, you don't just inherit its beauty, you inherit its burden, unless you actively cleanse it. I'll share a story that stuck with me for years. A well-known Hollywood actress, one many of you probably follow, once recounted in an interview that after filming a period drama centered around loss and heartbreak, she held onto the prop ring her character had worn throughout the production. It was a vintage piece, haunting and beautiful. But within weeks of finishing the shoot, she noticed a heavy emotional fog. She became melancholic, detached from her routines, and even questioned if she was falling into depression. Only after a spiritual healer suggested she release or cleanse the ring did the energy shift. That's how powerful energetic imprinting through jewelry can be, even in make-believe settings. The danger lies not in the object, but in the invisibility of the energy it carries. Because unlike a scratch or tarnish, emotional imprint doesn't show up under bright light or magnifying glass. You won't know a piece is affecting you until your mood, your focus, or your luck begins to subtly drift. You may find yourself arguing more, feeling restless, struggling with focus, or attracting eerily similar dynamics to the previous owner of the jewelry. That's not magic. That's energetic transference. So what can we do? Do we stop wearing family heirlooms? Avoid antique stores? No, but we do need to become more intentional. Because just like we reset a phone before gifting it to someone else, we must energetically reset jewelry before placing it on our own bodies. This is not superstition, it's self-protection. There are several powerful yet simple ways to cleanse inherited or secondhand jewelry. The first is with smoke, burning sage, palo santo, or sandalwood incense, and passing the jewelry slowly through the smoke for several minutes can neutralize much of the old qi held within. This method works especially well for rings and earrings, which tend to absorb emotion due to their proximity to the heart and head. The second is with sound, a gentle bell, singing bowl, or even a specific frequency played nearby, like 528 Hz or 963 Hz, can dislodge stagnant energy trapped in metal settings or gemstones. This is ideal for layered pieces like necklaces or bracelets, where movement and sound were part of the original wearer's energy imprint. Another method that's both ancient and universally effective is salt. Submerge the jewelry in a glass bowl of water mixed with natural sea salt or pink Himalayan salt and leave it for at least 12 hours. Some practitioners recommend 24 hours, especially for items that belong to someone who was very emotionally attached to them or who passed away wearing them. After soaking, rinse with clean water and place in sunlight for 2-3 hours to recharge. And here's an important nuance. If the jewelry came from someone you loved, and that love was balanced, supportive, and nourishing, the energy may actually empower you. In this case, you may choose not to cleanse it entirely, but to thank it. Wear it with intention. Combine it with affirmations like, "I carry your strength, not your sorrow," or "I honor your journey, but I walk my own." Feng Shui isn't about fear. It's about conscious choice. Jewelry that's gifted to you with good intentions still deserves a reset, because even joyful givers can pass on energetic patterns they're not aware of. Their worry, their limiting beliefs, their relationship with money, time, or beauty. Would you wear someone's emotions like a second skin without asking where they came from? Of course not. And yet, millions do exactly that every day with bracelets, brooches, engagement rings, and family watches. Here's another overlooked truth. Jewelry often becomes talismanic. A necklace worn daily becomes a symbol of protection. A ring becomes part of your self-identity. So when that symbol is rooted in someone else's story, you risk carrying the weight of something unresolved. Feng Shui teaches that every object either nourishes or drains your field. It doesn't sit neutral. That means every necklace you clasp has the potential to uplift or burden you, depending on its energetic residue. Take a moment and reflect. Do you own any jewelry that feels off, even if it looks beautiful? Do you reach for certain pieces more during periods of emotional turmoil? Do you have any gifted accessories you've never felt connected to, but can't explain why? These are signs, and your intuition, just like your energy field, is trying to tell you something. Treat your jewelry as a partner in your energy expression. Cleanse it regularly. Set intentions when you wear it. And if something feels off, don't ignore it just because it sparkles. Your soul can feel the weight your eyes cannot see. Number 4, second-hand handbags or briefcases. You wouldn't put your future inside a stranger's story. So why carry your daily intentions in a bag that remembers someone else's losses? In Feng Shui, bags, especially handbags and briefcases, are not just accessories. They are portable containers of energy, symbols of personal wealth, and vessels of direction. What you carry around every day isn't just your wallet, your phone, or your planner. It's your energetic relationship with responsibility, opportunity, and abundance. And if that bag has already lived a history of debt, despair, or being stolen, that story doesn't disappear when the zipper closes. It follows you. Many people think of second-hand bags as a thrifty, sustainable choice. And yes, sometimes they are. But Feng Shui teaches us that every object carries a memory, especially one that has traveled far. A bag used by someone going through financial hardship, divorce, or prolonged instability often absorbs a residue of worry, mistrust, or fear. This isn't mystical exaggeration, it's energy 101. And when you take that object and make it a daily part of your routine, you don't just adopt its function, you adopt its emotional vibration. Especially if the bag once belonged to someone who viewed money with stress or carried shame in their professional life. You may start to notice unexpected leaks in your own finances. Subscriptions you forget to cancel, invoices that get delayed, or tension when spending. You're not just carrying a bag, you're carrying unresolved energy that no longer belongs to you, but hasn't been cleared. Let me share an experience from a client who was a rising tech entrepreneur. She had just transitioned into a new leadership role and wanted to project sophistication. She purchased a luxury briefcase secondhand, previously owned by someone known in her industry, someone who had left the field after a major financial scandal. She brushed it off, thinking, it's just leather and hardware. But within weeks, her team dynamics started to fray. 2 deals fell through unexpectedly, and her sleep patterns became erratic. When she reached out for energetic consultation, we didn't focus on her office first. We focused on what she carried in with her daily. That bag was loaded, not with files, but with residual anxiety. We cleared it, replaced it. She wrote a letter of intention, placed a laurel leaf and new coin inside the fresh bag, and visualized her energy returning to neutral. The following month, her negotiations reopened. Her clarity sharpened. Her intuition flowed again. Sometimes the smallest swap creates the biggest reset. Here's where most people make the mistake. They assume that just because something is beautiful, expensive, or once belonged to someone successful, it must carry good energy. But beauty and success can mask pain, failure, or loss. A gorgeous designer purse can still carry the emotional signature of betrayal. A polished leather briefcase can still echo fear and shame from deals that went south. And if that object was stolen, passed down without consent, or attached to heavy memories? Then you're holding more than function. You're holding unresolved karma. So how do you restore clarity if you already own a second-hand bag that you love? It starts with intention. First, empty the bag completely. Then cleanse it physically, inside and out. Use a damp cloth and sea salt water, if the material allows, or a dry cleanse with sage smoke or sound vibration. After that, place a fresh coin inside of Walshamamum, ideally one minted in the current year. This reclaims the timestamp. Then tuck in a small bay leaf or sprig of mint to invite renewal and freshness. Finally, add a short written affirmation. This bag now carries only the energy of clarity, integrity, and aligned prosperity. And yes, every time you pick up that bag again, repeat that message internally. That's not superstition, that's energy hygiene. One more thing, don't overlook color and compartment placement. If your secondhand bag has a hidden compartment or a locked zipper that's broken, that's symbolic of blocked flow. If the inner lining is frayed or torn, that mirrors energy leaks. And if the color itself reminds you of a past hardship, change it. Colors hold memory too. For example, dark reds and blacks tend to absorb and trap energy. Neutral tones like camel, ivory, or sage tend to release and ground. Choose a color that reflects who you're becoming, not who someone else used to be. Here's something I often remind my private clients. You are not just dressing yourself in the morning, you are dressing your energy. Every object you carry with you holds influence. So when you choose your daily bag, ask not just, does this match my outfit, but does this match my mindset? Is it helping you walk through your day with clarity, with direction, with alignment? Or is it silently dragging you into patterns that no longer serve your highest self? At New Day Mindfulness, we don't ask you to fear objects. We ask you to honor their history, clear their memory, and align them with your present path. A second-hand bag doesn't have to be a problem, but it has to be reclaimed. It must be energetically neutralized and then charged with the life you are actively creating. Because the wealth you're meant to attract won't land in a space that's holding someone else's fear. It needs room to move, to trust, to breathe. And your bag, whether a purse, tote, or briefcase, is where that movement begins. Number 5, spiritually linked objects. Amulets, statues, crystals. It may look like a gift, but energetically, not every charm was meant to protect you. In Feng Shui, as well as in broader energetic practice, spiritually charged items such as amulets, carved statues, crystal bracelets, and protective symbols carry more than form. They hold activation, intention, and personal imprint. And that imprint doesn't always travel cleanly from one person to the next. When you receive an object that was once spiritually used by someone else, especially someone facing deep personal unrest, emotional instability, or unresolved spiritual trauma, you are not just bringing their item into your space. You're bringing their energetic residue into your field. Let's slow that down because it's not about fear, it's about frequency. Every spiritually linked item was once attuned to a person's energy. That means their hopes, their prayers, their burdens, their fears, and their spiritual contracts may still echo through that object long after it's physically handed over. You wouldn't wear someone else's prescription glasses and expect clear vision. Likewise, you shouldn't wear their spiritual armor and expect it to guard you the same way. Because protection isn't universal, it's personal. It must be synchronized to your journey, your vibration, your unique soul blueprint. Otherwise, you're holding a mirror to someone else's storm, not your own sanctuary. This happens more often than most realize. Someone gifts you a statue of a deity, saying, "It brought me peace," but they never resolved their inner conflict. Someone gives you a bracelet they wore through hard times, but it hasn't been cleansed. Someone hands you a crystal they say helped their anxiety. But what if the anxiety never left? That energy didn't vanish. It moved. And now it's pulsing inside your space, looking for a new home. And unless you've actively realigned it, that new home is you. A master energy consultant in Thailand once told me this truth. Energy moves when it is welcomed, but it lingers when it is not understood. He saw countless people bring home Buddha statues, Kuan Yin carvings, or healing stones from markets, temples, or secondhand stores. only to find their sleep disturbed, their clarity clouded, or their luck slowly dimming. Why? Because they brought in tools without connection. They opened portals without intention, and they called protection without alignment. One client, for example, had a jade Buddha gifted to her from a relative who had died of chronic illness. She cherished it until her own health started to mysteriously decline. When we examined her space, it wasn't about aesthetics, it was about vibration. That object had not been cleared, not been reset, and not been connected to her. Once we released it properly and replaced it with a crystal she personally chose, her space began to settle. Her body followed. Here's the core issue most people overlook. It's not about the item's appearance. It's about its origin and its energetic memory. Some spiritual items are consecrated, designed to be held by multiple hands over time. But most personal amulets, especially ones worn close to the body or placed beside the bed, are energetically exclusive, like keys cut for a specific door. Just because someone hands you theirs doesn't mean it will unlock yours. The emotional intent behind the gift matters too. Was it given out of true generosity or out of guilt, obligation, or secrecy? Feng Shui teaches us that the energy surrounding a transaction, how something is given or received, shapes how it lives in your life. If a charm was gifted in grief, that sadness may follow. If a statue was passed down with resentment, that resistance may still cling. So what can you do if you've already accepted such items and feel unsure? Step 1 is clarity. Ask yourself, do I feel uplifted or weighed down when I see or wear this? Do I feel stronger or more scattered? Do I feel like this object connects me to my higher self or to someone else's unfinished story? If the answer leans negative or even neutral, it's time to cleanse and possibly release. To cleanse a spiritually linked item properly, start with reverence, not fear. Place the object on a clean white cloth. Use one of 3 methods to reset its vibration. First, smoke. Pass the object through Palo Santo or agar wood incense, allowing the smoke to envelop it while you silently say, only aligned and supporting energy may remain. Second, sound. Use a singing bowl or bell chime to shift stagnant energy and awaken clarity. Third, salt. If the item can handle moisture, soak it in a bowl of water with sea salt and leave it in sunlight for a few hours. If not, simply place it on a bed of Himalayan salt overnight. You may also write a personal affirmation or intention and place it beneath the item while cleansing. This brings your own imprint into the space, reassigning energetic ownership. And what if you don't want to keep it? That's okay. Letting it go is also sacred. Wrap the item in a respectful cloth, thank it for its past service, and either return it to nature like burying a crystal or releasing ashes from a burned charm, or bring it to a trusted place that accepts spiritual items for release or redistribution. The key is intention. It's not about erasing the past. It's about resetting the present. Let's make one thing clear. Spiritual tools are not inherently dangerous. They're simply tuned. Like radios picking up specific frequencies, they broadcast what they've been programmed with. Your job is not to fear that, it's to become conscious of it, and in doing so, to tune those frequencies into alignment with who you are today, not who someone else was yesterday. So next time someone offers you a protective bracelet, a sacred necklace, or a statue that worked for them, pause. Don't reject it out of superstition, but don't accept it blindly either. Feel into it. Ask, is this mine to carry? Is this aligned with the life I'm building? Or is it simply beautiful, but no longer energetically appropriate? Because you deserve spiritual tools that don't just look sacred, but actually support your sacredness. You deserve energy that echoes you, not ghosts of people you've never met. And most importantly, you deserve to walk through your life protected by your own light, not the shadows of someone else's storm. Final, the objects around you don't just take up space, they shape your story. And every item you've ever brought into your life has either supported your growth or quietly anchored you to someone else's pain. That's not superstition, that's energetic imprint. And the truth is, most people never pause to ask, whose energy am I actually living with? Because when we accept a wallet from someone we admire, we assume we're borrowing success, not their financial wounds. When we wrap ourselves in a hand-me-down blanket, we think of warmth, not the illness or sorrow it once witnessed. When we slip on a ring or pick up a second-hand handbag, we rarely consider what emotional residue might still cling to the seams, silently tugging on our own flow of money, rest, or joy. And when it comes to spiritual items, crystals, amulets, statues, many are passed down with the best intentions, yet still carry the frequency of unresolved prayers. The most common mistake? Thinking a gift is always good. But in Feng Shui, acceptance equals alignment. What you accept into your space is what you allow into your field. And without intentional boundaries, you don't just inherit objects, you inherit energy. That's why you must ask, not with fear, but with clarity. Does this item reflect the energy I'm ready to carry forward? Or is it silently holding me back? And here's what most people miss. It doesn't take grand rituals to make a powerful shift. You don't need to throw everything away or turn your home into a museum of perfection. What you need is awareness, intention, a willingness to reset. Because when you stop unknowingly absorbing the energetic blocks of others, you begin to create space for your own breakthroughs to rise. That's the quiet power of Feng Shui. It doesn't scream, it whispers. And when you learn to listen, you start living more on purpose, more in flow, and more in peace. At New Day Mindfulness, that's our mission. Not to tell you what's right or wrong, but to help you ask better questions about the space you live in. We believe Feng Shui should be accessible, deeply practical, and emotionally grounded. Not buried in superstition or tradition you don't understand. We help you make small, thoughtful changes that restore your energy, protect your well-being, and realign you with who you truly are, not who the world told you to be. That might mean choosing which wallet you carry more consciously. It might mean letting go of a beautiful necklace that no longer feels like yours. Or it might mean simply resetting a bag, a bracelet, or a bed cover, not because you fear what it holds, but because you respect what you're building. Because the energy you allow in your home is the energy you allow into your future. And in a world that moves fast, with noise and distraction pulling you in every direction, the quiet power of your space can become your strongest ally if you choose to honor it. So here's what I invite you to do now. If this video opened your eyes to something new, leave me a comment. What object in your home might be carrying someone else's story? How has it made you feel? And if you found value here, if something clicked for you, I invite you to support this mission. Please share this video with a friend like it, and subscribe to New Day Mindfulness. We're on our way to reaching 5,000 subscribers, and your support helps me continue creating grounded, healing, and truly practical content for people like you. Because Feng Shui isn't about fear, it's about freedom. It's not about what you keep, it's about what you carry and why. And when you carry with intention, your whole life starts to feel lighter, clearer, and far more aligned.